Hello, you're watching Eye on Africa. I'm James Creedon. These are our headlines this evening. At least 400,000 people have now fled the city of Goma in Democratic Republic of Congo due to ongoing volcanic activity nearby. Many of them have poured into the town of Sake. We'll bring you a report on that at the top of the show. The African Union has announced the immediate suspension of Mali from the bloc. This after a second coup in just 9 months. More on that coming up. And French Prime Minister Jean Castex has begun a 2-day visit to Tunisia. Talks will focus on the economy, security issues, and also migration. Thanks for watching. Now we start in Democratic Republic of Congo, where spewing ash from Nyiragongo, a volcano, over the past fortnight has forced hundreds of thousands to flee the city of Goma. Those displaced populations have in part spilled over the border to neighbouring Rwanda. The town of Sake has also received a large share of evacuees. The situation is chaotic. The United Nations says, as things stand, some 350,000 people are in need of emergency help. Nicola Germain reports.
Most of the people who have fled Goma have come to the Congolese town of Sake. More than a quarter of the 400,000 displaced people are here. Local activists have started helping them while they wait for more humanitarian aid.
C'est pour ça qu'on s'est dit qu'on ne va pas croiser les bras. On s'est regroupés, on a fait une synergie des jeunes pour essayer de contribuer chacun afin qu'on porte cette première assistance parce qu'on sait que les ONG généralement s'attardent et le gouvernement il est presque endormi.
Thousands of other displaced people have entered neighboring Rwanda. This is the town of Rubayu.
Tena inatomboka sana, tremblement iko na make busiku watu abalale. Na mchana unakutana manyumba ziko zinaanguka.
UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, is providing food and shelter to the displaced in Rwanda.
Bagiye kubona habaye ngige cha saa 12 tubone umuriro gutungutse mu kirunga ca Nyiragongo. Ubwo rero gutembana gwica abantu n'imiduzane n'imirima n'imyaka ririmo yose irasha n'amazu nago garasha ubwo turiruka turi kugana no mu Rwanda.
But the UN says the situation remains critical. It estimates that 350,000 evacuees are in need of emergency help. And even though the Nyiragongo volcano erupted nearly 2 weeks ago, officials stressed that it is still not safe to return to Goma.
Mali has been suspended from the African Union. The bloc is also threatening sanctions if a civilian-led government is not restored in Bamako. International powers fear that a military coup last week will jeopardise a commitment to hold presidential elections early next year. That could, in turn, jeopardise a broader fight in the region against Islamist militants. Peter O'Brien has more.
Suspended, then reinstated, now suspended again. Mali is no longer part of the African Union after its second coup in 9 months. The previous one in August saw the country kicked out of the bloc until it named the heads of a civilian-led transitional government. But they were deposed by Colonel Assimi Goïta, who was declared president last week.
The council calls for an impeded, transparent and swift return to the civilian-led transition based on the agreed transition roadmap for Mali, failing which the council will not hesitate to impose targeted sanctions.
On Sunday, ECOWAS, the West African regional bloc, also suspended Mali. Both groups called on the country to respect its commitments for elections next February, but Goïta's legal advisor has said they'll need more time.
I think that objectively, 9 months are not enough to do all the work that we have to do.
The African Union and ECOWAS have called for a civilian prime minister, which is set to be the case. While not official yet, it's expected the role will go to Shogel Maiga. He's one of the leaders of the opposition M5 movement, which organised last year's demonstrations before the August coup. Along with most of Mali's political elite, Maiga is in favour of dialogue with jihadists in the country to try and quell an insurgency. This policy has long been opposed by France, which has more than 5,000 troops deployed across the Sahel and has threatened to withdraw them from Mali if the instability persists.
Now for some other news stories from across the continent. Twitter removed a post by the Nigerian president on Wednesday. In the tweet, Muhammadu Buhari threatened punishment for regional secessionists who have been blamed for attacks on government buildings. The social media firm said Buhari's tweet violated its abusive behaviour policy, leading to a 12-hour suspension. Buhari referenced a civil war in the late 60s in the southeastern Biafra region that killed 1 million people. His social media post warned that those who promote insurrection in Nigeria face a, quote, rude shock. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has welcomed the World Health Organization's approval of the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine. The approval of the Chinese 2-dose vaccine paves the way for the jabs to be included in the COVAX sharing scheme. South Africa is currently facing a third wave of the virus. Staying in South Africa, dozens of government officials face prosecution in a scandal over the award of coronavirus contracts to the tune of 820 million euros. President Cyril Ramaphosa ordered the inquiry last year after allegations that tenders related to COVID-19 were handed to people and companies with political connections. The French Prime Minister Jean Castex started a 2-day visit to Tunisia this Wednesday. Talks will focus on the economy, security issues and migration. Tunisia has been dealing with a migration crisis for several years. The COVID-19 epidemic has fueled illegal departures to Europe. More than 12,000 Tunisians departed for the Italian coast this year alone. Now, young Tunisians are also seeking work legally in France and Germany to escape Tunisia's economic and social hardships. Now, this report by Lila Blaise, Hamdi Tlili and Nicholas Rushworth.
Swad, a widow and mother of 3 sons, lives in Tunis. One of her sons, Bader, went missing after migrating illegally during the Tunisian revolution a decade ago. She despairs that her youngest son, Hamza, also wants to go abroad illegally. He has made several attempts.
كل جينيراسيون كما تحكي نتاعهم ما عندهمش حق باش يسافروا بالفيزا ما عندهمش حق قاعدين يحاولوا ويحرقوا ويرجعوا ويحرقوا ويرجعوا واللي يموت واللي يعيش واللي يرجع واللي يتفقد.
France grants short-stay visas to Tunisians. During the COVID crisis, the number issued has fallen by 2/3. Lawyers Without Borders argues it's not only because of the pandemic.
Donc, bien que, évidemment, la mobilité humaine, ça doit être un droit garanti à tous et à toutes, ce n'est pas la réalité dans beaucoup de pays, et notamment aussi en Tunisie, où l'accès à un visa, c'est très difficile à cause des demandes des ambassades.
Tunisians with medical qualifications and experience can get visas to work in countries such as France and Germany quite readily. Marwan is an A&E doctor in the Tunisian city of Sousse. He wants to leave this year.
في تونس ولينا نشوفوا في برشا حاجات ما كناش نشوفوا فيها عنف لفظي وعنف توصل حتى ساعات جسدي نشوفوه كل نهار يخلي برشا دي جون ميدسان الغالب معناها يقول لك انا ما عادش نجم نشوف حاجه نحب حاجه تحميني نحب نكون في بلاصه باش تعطيني قيمتي.
Marwan says he wants to return to Tunisia after gaining experience abroad. Of the 700 young Tunisian doctors who leave each year, most do not return.
The Ugandan flyweight boxer Catherine Nanziri will create history for her country at this summer's Tokyo Olympic Games. Nanziri will be the first female boxer to represent Uganda at the Games, a sport that has provided the African country with some of their best chances of medals. Nanziri qualified based on her world ranking of 12th. She's ranked fourth in Africa. Let's take a listen to her.
I feel proud of myself because it's a prayer that every sporty could have prayed to go for the Olympic Games, and being the chance that I'm the first female boxer, it has given me a good profile depending on the sport and the future. My name is Pure. It means spirit. So I love to be unique in a sport or in the environment around me. So I decided to join boxing, being that I wanted to look like an inspiration to the young ladies in school where I started boxing from.
Catherine Nanziri on her way to Tokyo a little later this summer. Thanks for watching Eye on Africa. More news to follow.
Worldviews. France 24 brings you all the news from hotspots around the world. In Africa, France. Asia, the Middle East, and the Americas. From Europe to Oceania, take a daily trip across borders to keep abreast of all the latest international news. Get exclusive updates from our correspondents around the globe. Our daily reports will take you to all four corners of the world. Every day, watch World Views on France 24 and France24.com.
Keep up to date on the latest from the Middle East. We bring you political, economic, and cultural events from the region in this weekly Middle Eastern program.
Middle East Matters, presented by Sanam Chantier on France 24 and France24.com. Your needs are changing, and so is France24.com. With articles, reports, the latest international news, all our programs available on replay, together with live broadcasting 24/7. Intuitive, fast, and available in 4 languages. France24.com. Liberté, égalité, actualité.